This was the Palm Sunday procession at St. Alphonsus Liguori, the Rock Church on North Grand. This is a church that stands tall and proud, a landmark created in one era and a survivor in many ways in our own time. It survived changes in the city, in the neighborhood, a fire that some thought would be the end of it. But the Rock Church lives on now as a predominantly black Catholic church, and still not without its challenges. I tell you what, Father, they don't make churches like this anymore, do they? Oh, no. People must be overwhelmed, I think, the first time they come in here. Yeah. A few weeks before, we met up with Father Rodney Olive and two parishioners to talk about the privilege and the responsibility of taking care of a church built in 1872. Think about the congregation, you think about the spiritual lessons, but you also got to worry about your boiler and your roof and your windows, right?
Exactly. You got it. Exactly.
And it was the windows that brought us here. These were installed in 1904, and the Rock Church was recently awarded a $500,000 grant to help restore them. The money came from the National Trust for Historic Preservation's Preserving Black Churches Fund. And although the Rock Church has black, brown, and white members, when it comes to Mass, this is a black Catholic church. Parishioner Shannon Horstman knew that was going to stand out when she wrote the grant application.
Just sitting in some of the Q&A with some of the other grantees, almost 1,000 people, there were no Catholic churches in there, and there were no black Catholic churches in there. Yes, this is my favorite. This is the Mary and Joseph window, I call it.
She was in charge of getting the money. Church Finance Director Monica Huddleston will be in charge of spending it.
Every window is going to be different in terms of what needs to be done, so the cost of each will be different. We had one window done last summer just to see what was involved and how things could be, and that took several weeks.
You can visually see the difference.
You can indeed. The one window that was done, the colors are a brighter blue, a brighter red. You can really tell the difference in that if you look at the ones that have not been done compared to that one. And then if you step outside, you can really see the framing and the peeling paint and the crumbling caulk and all of that for the windows that weren't done.
She says the fact that these windows are still here, that they survived the 2007 fire, is something of a miracle. If it was divine intervention, it was carried out through the words of former fire chief Sherman George.
And he gave the order to his firefighters, do not touch those stained glass windows, and they did not.
During a storm in August of 2007, lightning struck the church, and the fire burned through the roof. Water from the fire hoses poured down. Heat and smoke went up the spire. Yes, the windows were saved, but it would take a long time to bring this church back, and that was quite a story. In 2008, 8 months after the fire, we wanted to see how things were coming along. The spire was covered in scaffolding, and we thought that was impressive. And then we went inside.
The main damage was the roof. The fire started behind the steeple, and that's where it got struck.
Right.
And that burned a huge hole there.
Jeff Myers of Wachter Construction is the project superintendent. He and retired Rock Church priest Kyle Fisher took us up to see how things were coming along. The first job was to give the church a new roof, and not just shingles and such, but the whole top section of the Rock Church had to be rebuilt. And few will ever see the work they did here.
The main trusses, they were all burnt, all destroyed, and we replaced all of those. The original stuff you could see was actually hand-hewn with a hatchet in places.
When the church had a roof, it was then time to work on the vaulted ceiling, which is made up of wood and plaster, all of it curving and bending, and damaged by water, fire, and smoke.
This was what was left. The wood framing,
right,
all the square nails, and then the plaster was over that.
When the framing is repaired, the plasterers step in to do their work in very much the same way it was done in the 1800s. This is a big job, and there really aren't all that many people who do this sort of thing. Jack Shipley came out of retirement and was helping to rebuild one of the decorative medallions. 8 months after the fire, there were still places that had hardly been touched, but there was a section that was starting to look good as new. The work on the Rock Church roof and steeple would be completed, and the church building ended up better, even stronger than before. But inside, the scaffolding would stay up a lot longer, and it was worth the wait. At this point, it looked like they were just freshening up the place, painting here, cleaning there. You'd never know what had gone into getting the soaring vaulted ceiling looking like this again, or what this mosaic had been through.
There's not much that we haven't touched.
Right. For more than a year and a half, Mass was held in the gymnasium. And then on Palm Sunday of 2009, the procession took them back home, and they've been there ever since. Once work on the stained glass windows begins, there will be scaffolding up once again, just not quite as much. The $500,000 grant will not cover all of the windows, and the grant is part of a larger capital campaign.
It's 150 years old, and even though it's an architectural marvel, as a pastor, I also look at the other side of it. It takes a tremendous amount of work to maintain it, because a church like this, the building, it's made out of stone. Well, it has to be tuck pointed. We have to redo some of the AC and maintain a lot of different things that people never see. And so that's why the capital campaign.
But the Rock Church has proved time and again it is a survivor, a Black Catholic church that serves more than just those who show up for services.
Because a lot of our church, especially the Rock, has tremendous social ministry that really is right in line with the scriptures and the teachings of our church. There's a need, go to the Rock. If they can't help you, they'll know who can.
For Living St. Louis, I'm Jim Kircher.